Imagine saying to a coach now for 12 weeks, go live with your nan for 12 weeks, knowing that in 2 years it'll be worth it. They wouldn't fucking do it. I was prepared to graft. I was prepared to work my nuts off. I had 15 clients. I think I was doing about maybe $2,000 a month. My rent was $1,200. It was make or break.
Everything you do is just stacking the chips in your favour, innit? Nothing's a guaranteed, but if you just keep doing that and increase the chances of it happening and just keep showing up, it's going to happen at some point.
And the work you're doing now today is going to benefit you in 4 years' time. Everything we have today is a byproduct of my mindset when I was 18.
All I wanted to do, I fucking kid you not, I was like, I knew that it would work for me if I was a good coach and I was getting good results. So like, that's all I focused on.
Be relentless. I don't care whether you're having a good day, a bad day, an indifferent day. Fucking turn up. Because if you had a 9-to-5 job, you couldn't be like, oh, don't feel it today. You got to go in. You've got to tap away on that spreadsheet. You've got to send that email. You've got to come in and do that. You've got to turn on the camera. You've got to sit there and listen to this shitty podcast, right?
8 o'clock in the morning, I'll have fish and a rice cake.
Hola, mate.
Hola, mate.
Welcome to the
That is how I started speaking to you, innit?
I know, yeah.
Imagine
Welcome to the alpha male wisdom.
Yeah, you know.
Is it CEO podcast for people who don't take action?
Something like that. Wasn't we? I just came off tip of the tongue, when we did that, and we just had to keep it going the whole time.
Well, I saw it yesterday. I was like, I've got to open a podcast for that.
Yeah. It's just that we took the piss out of that whole angle of like all these podcasts talk about all this great stuff, and no one ever does anything with them.
Yeah.
No one does.
Just
It's
words.
when it's like going on your reels on Instagram and it's all like these productivity hacks. It's like people just save productivity hacks and never actually
while they've been unproductive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't get it. So yeah, it's that's what we took the piss out of it for, because that's what all the bodybuilders love, and all the coaches love all that shit, and they don't actually do anything.
No, welcome on, mate. Fish and a rice cake. We've got a very special guest today. We've got all the way from Dubai.
Well, we've spoken about them both enough, haven't we?
Yeah.
I've just come for this as well, by the way. There's nothing else going on. I'm literally flying in from Dubai just for this.
Yeah, that's
just
exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I stick with that narrative, okay? But this is Dan. And to be honest, I think most people who listen to this podcast are going to know who you are.
Big time.
No, you
Well,
are.
This is what surprised us, because at the event last Friday, which is mad that it's already a week, but last
Yeah.
Friday, the amount of feedback we got from the coaches there saying that they listened to it, and we just assumed, we knew a couple of coaches listened, but we thought it was more just our clients and Gen Pop and stuff like that.
I think it's more coaches who listen to podcasts, though, isn't it? Do you know, it's
Yeah.
just like, it's that thing.
Yeah, it is. Like I posted the other day on Instagram, I said about how coaches think that they should start a podcast. They just don't have a reason why, and they just do it because they think they should.
It's because they see clips. And to be fair, like, I remember I was going to start one not long ago, and I said to you, I think I'm going to do a podcast. And you're like, why? I was like, yeah. Good fucking point.
The thing is, it takes so much time and effort, as you know. Like we're here in this like nice studio, and it costs money and all those things, and it's just remembering why you're doing it. And I think because coaches enjoy them.
Yeah.
And they go, I'll do one. And it's like you're forgetting that most people don't sit on a train for an hour listening to you talk about calorie deficit. They're just not bothered.
Yeah.
And when we first did it, because we had one when we did it, me and Mike.
To be fair, though, I'll talk about that, but I used to listen to yours religiously.
Of course you did, mate.
Yeah.
But then
Just
I
get
come
that
back
bit of
to
brown off, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all right.
They pay my wages.
Yeah. Did you listen to it?
I actually,
You better than
I
that.
think
If
if I'm being honest, I think I've listened to them all about 2 or 3 times now.
But like we've often talked about like whether we bring that element of it back and all that sort of stuff, because we used to just say funny shit and just do funny stories, right? It was never really about fitness hugely, and that's the thing people need to realise is it's not about that. It really isn't. Obviously, you guys, I know I've seen clips of yours. I'm not gonna lie and sit here and say I've listened to every single one. I ain't got time. Which I did. But you know that element of it, you can see the clips. It's like it's not just fitness stuff. And obviously, if you're working more now with coaches and more coaches listen to this, it makes sense that you start talking about those more in-depth stuff alongside the funny stuff as well.
We don't really talk that much fitness, do we? It's like, you know, if
We'll touch on
because you don't know anything about fitness.
We'll get found out otherwise, won't we?
Yeah.
We
Just
we
like,
have
don't
like a particular
send out meal
topic,
plans.
But like we said when we started it, like we wanted it to be very informal. We didn't want it to be just another dry fitness podcast.
But you know what? People like the behind the scenes of that. They want to know. Like, I think when I watch podcasts, and you know, like Chris Williamson and stuff, you have to be prepared. You have to ask those questions. But because of the guests you've got on, and you want to extract as much as you can out of them. But like me and Tom have done ours now for. Well, I know we've done it for 8 years because we started it when.
How many episodes you got? It's crazy, isn't it? It's
300 odd.
I'm gonna say I counted it just before we were on the other week, and it was like 390 something then. So it'll probably be at 400 now, if not more.
And we literally don't have a script at all. We don't have any questions. We just literally turn it on and go, right, we're going to talk about it. And to be fair, Tom's taking a bit more of a lead on it. I don't do anything for it. I just turn up and we have a chat. And the reason we kept on doing it was so that we could stay in touch. But then you realise that you still get 2,000-3,000 people a week fucking listen to you chatting shit, and it's like it's a bit weird. But that's what they're there for. Is they want to hear the shit, the chatting shit, not the informative stuff. And
and it allows people to get to know you more. I think in like an age of short form content, there's only so much you can get from short form content.
Yeah, the short form content is like the hook, isn't it? It's like we talk about with emails and content. It's like you want to hook people in with that, and then they're always going to want more of you, and they want to know what you like. And the long form stuff is the best way to get that across. And people do spend time listening to this stuff. Like again, I don't listen to it hugely when I'm in Dubai, but even here, obviously, I have to drive further. Even just on the car now, I listen to more podcasts now.
Yeah,
straight away, I'm like, oh, I got that.
I'm podcast on YouTube. Like I don't watch TV anymore. I just watch YouTubes. And we were talking about the event last week, and Simon mentioned about like the kind of vlogs are coming back. I kid you not, I just watch day in the lives of people, and then sometimes I think, why am I watching this? But I enjoy it. I don't know. It's weird.
There's this element to it with humans, and again, it comes down to like human behavior and human psychology of like we just want to know what other people are doing, and we just think that someone's doing something we're not. And I keep saying this to coaches all the time: it's like stop lecturing people and talking at them. Show them.
Yeah.
Don't tell them. Show them you're doing it. Show them you're living the life. Show them what you're up to, because it not only does it add more weight to your argument and what you're saying, it's also more enjoyable for them to watch it.
Yeah.
And rather than feel like being lectured at, and like, you both went to uni, right?
I didn't.
You didn't. You did.
Yeah.
It's like
you did not.
It makes sense now. I can
it does.
see
Yeah.
it.
It's that.
It clicks. The intelligence clicks in now.
Just grinded.
It's that whole thing of like being lectured at is the most boring thing in the world. And it is the most boring thing, and you don't actually take huge amounts from it. And the stuff you take more from is actually being in the field, learning as you go, and all those sorts of things as well. And it's the same with coaches; they're just lecturing at people. They're just on. No one goes on Instagram to be lectured at me. Like, don't tell me that I'm a shit and that I need to do this and that I'm crap at this. Just show me what you're doing, and I'll probably copy it, because humans do that. They copy. Like, you've got a kid, kids copy. They just copy what you do.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And it's like just show people more of what you're doing. So that's where podcasts are great from that point of view. But then, like I said, that's where coaches then just go, oh, I'll do a podcast as well. And it's like,
but then they just start talking about calories, and it's like nobody gives a shit.
They lecture
nobody gives a shit. We just don't talk about that stuff. Like, again, we'll have a topic.
Yeah,
but it's never like, so you need to go into this much of a deficit and do this.
Coaches probably listen to yours because they want insight into how you coach.
Yeah.
I think that's it. What it's like
I think that's
to coach other people when at that level and all those sorts of things. And it's remembering that it's everything that I watch on YouTube or podcasts or anything. I want to know what someone higher up than me is doing and how they're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's golf.
Definitely.
Golf for me, it's like, I want to see what the golfers do. I want to see what clubs they use. I want to see why they do that, why they've done that in the course. I don't want them to tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
I want to know why they're doing it.
And what they're doing.
100%. And it's why we talk about all the time. The behind-the-scenes documentaries, I fucking love them anyway. But that's why they always get decent views on Netflix, and why Netflix.
Well, the City have just done one, and they're not stupid. Like, in a year, especially when we've got all these charges, they're like, right, let's get this out there. 100%. Put us in a really good light with everyone across the world.
Way I say it to coaches is like, Netflix aren't daft, right? They're spending millions of pounds on that.
Yeah.
Right? They are not putting on a show of Man City's best goals, best highlights. They're not just showing the on the pitch.
It's all about the players and stuff like. It's getting to know the players and stuff.
Do you think Netflix, if they're spending millions of pounds, might know what they're talking about? Maybe
they
know what people want.
I saw the other day. So just because I'm following, I'm obviously a City fan, but Mahrez now, and he's just created his own app, right? And his own app is literally there's nothing to do with football on there. It's basically just follow him around for what he does on a daily basis, and he's obviously got like millions of subscribers to it, paying like $5 a month or whatever, but. Just shows how much people are interested in that side of things, which is that blew my mind. But I was like, it makes sense.
It makes complete sense. Like 100% makes complete sense. So that's the problem. Like I said, with these sorts of things, is coaches don't get the behind the scenes of like how things work, why you're doing it. In an era of influencers and all this sort of stuff, it's like coaches are easy to slag them off and say, oh, they don't know anything, and I'm like, they do know something that you don't know, which is that they're putting themselves out there. Yeah. They may not have the ability that you've got, but they're doing something right. Learn from them, but they won't. They just ignore it.
Yeah, it's not the most successful coaches aren't always the best coaches, which is obviously a shit thing. You want that, but you've got to get good at the other side of things as well, haven't you? Which is obviously what you talk about all the time.
But like, to take that even further, you could argue that again, this may be controversial, not for you. You're going to agree with me, but I would argue that David Beckham's not the most successful footballer, but he's the most recognisable one.
Yeah.
Because of who he is and his brand.
His brand.
Around it.
Yeah, his brand.
The whole, like, with his misses, but also, like, since leaving football, the fashion, all those things. Yeah, he's good looking lad, whatever, blah, blah, but he's not the best footballer in the world.
No, and he never was. He never was.
No. And you could argue that actually wasn't, even at his time, wasn't even one of the better ones.
I would agree with that, yeah.
And yet, he's probably one of the most recognisable. If you say name a famous number 7.
Oh, it's Beckham every single time. Yeah. Like, every single time.
No one says
for everyone.
George Best, they say Beckham. And it's because of that. It's because of what he created off the pitch as well as what he did on the pitch. And again, it's a bit of an extreme example, but it comes back to that thing. The best coaches aren't always the most successful ones because of that reason.
Yeah. Anyway, before we digress too much,
I do.
This is Dan.
I just do chat shit.
So this is Dan. Dan was actually my first physique coach. So you got me into shape for the first time.
Until he stopped a while.
Clearly, it's gone to shit now. That's why I'm wearing baggy clothes. And you were unfortunately, indirectly, kind of my second business coach. We won't go into the first one. Hola, mate. But yeah, give us a bit of an intro into you, Dan, for the people who don't know. But maybe how you got into fitness in the first place. It's quite a cool story, I think.
Is it? Yeah,
I like it.
Okay, I'll give a slightly longer version then. So basically, I was at uni, and I always knew I wanted to work in football. Like, I knew that for me, I could never make it as a footballer. I could never make it in pro sport. I was half decent at cricket. Kind of got close and never made it. And just at 15, I was like, I'm not going to do
in
this.
cricket.
Cricket, yeah. I had trials like Nottinghamshire and like played at like county level there when I was a bit younger, and played some men's cricket when I was 13, 14 or whatever. But
were you a batsman?
I was a bowler at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. I can slog it. So I often, but
good with balls.
Yeah, and then just I went to uni and I knew that I wanted to go into sport to some degree. And at that point, sports science was not what it is today. It was like Sam Allardyce was just about bringing it in, and analysis was a thing. And I remember at 16, like, okay, I don't have to just be a physio. There's other stuff like the S&C and the fitness side of stuff. And I was like the skinny as a rake, not even like didn't strength train. I just knew that I wanted to be into the sciencey stuff. So yeah, I went to uni, and I kind of went to uni knowing that's what I wanted to do, which helped me because most people at uni don't have a fucking clue. They just do a degree because they think they should and don't know. So then every year at uni, I was like, right, I've got to get work experience. I've got to work for free. I've got to build up. So this is relevant, by the way, to the whole story. I appreciate it. Going back some way. But yeah, like, all the other lads at uni were like off getting pissed in the summers and getting pissed all the time. And I literally was writing to football clubs to like, can I come shadow people? Can I come work for free? So managed to get in at Reading Football Club, where I worked every summer while I was at uni for free, for no money. Stayed with my nan.
That's class.
Yeah, love my nan, but living with her for 12 weeks of the year is not the most fun in the world. But yeah, I just knew that there was something about it. I don't know what it was at that time, but I just knew that to make it, I was gonna have to make sacrifices. I knew that I couldn't just get by on end of the degree. What shall I do? Because I don't know why. I don't know where that came from, but I just knew it. Anyway, so I worked in football three summers for free. I was really lucky to work at the club I supported, which made it easier for me to kind of work hard, get my head down. It was literally cleaning protein shaker bottles, like filling up Lucozade bottles, like but it was being around the environment. And I went, this is what I want to do.
Yeah,
this is it. And it's a really cutthroat industry. You have to do internships, like you did some, didn't you, Jake? Yeah. Real cutthroat. Like, you get hundreds of people apply for a 3-year internship. Like, you get no pay. 100 people apply, and I knew that those little stints would step me in good stead. So, long story short, I used to do all this during all my free time. Like, he paid for it, nothing. And then I went to do my masters with at Liverpool John Moores with a guy who was working at the FA at the time, like big wig, worked at Liverpool. Cut my teeth there. I got a little bit of work at Liverpool. Didn't work out because they didn't think I worked hard enough, which was a catalyst to me being like, fuck, like,
this is the standard I need to be at.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I did the jobs.
Because you probably thought you were working hard as well.
I did the jobs that I was asked to do, and then I kind of like left and stuff like that. And the guy that managed me, he was a shit manager, to be fair. He wasn't very good at what he did. But it just lit that fire in me. And then I was lucky enough to get offered, straight after my masters, I was lucky enough to get offered a job or a paid internship at Hull City when I was 21 to 22. There was 4 of us, got paid a little bit of money, and it was all like we were vying for, like, 4 of us vying for this sort of position, I suppose, in the future.
What was the position that you...
There wasn't a position to go in at the time, but it was almost like you could sense that there was 4 of us
something.
being paid something, and we were all... Let's say being groomed, that sounds fucking bad, doesn't it? But you could tell that, like, they were kind of like scouting people out a little bit. They wanted to grow the thing, and I was looking around these 3 lads, sorry. And we all stayed in a flat together, and I was just like, what have I got that these I haven't got? There was one guy there who was like S&C nerd, like proper nerd. The other guy was in performance analysis, so a bit different to me. And I just knew, and I could tell that it was about me as a person. They didn't care what I knew and how good I was at the job, because we had to be that good to get there. Mm-hmm. It was more a case of how you interacted. So I just, for that year, got my head down and just made friends with the players.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, luckily enough, the manager moved on. There was a change of management, and then I got offered a job because he took all his sports science team with him. I got offered a job there, first team sports scientist at the age of 23.
That's unreal.
Which just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
in that industry, it's mad. I was paid 22 grand a year, which at the time I was like, oh, it's not too bad, whatever.
I mean, at that age, obviously.
I was like, 23. I was like, it's not too bad coming out of uni. And then within a year, I quit. I left.
Yeah. Who was the manager at the time?
Steve Bruce.
Steve, that was it. I was going to say Sam Allardyce for some reason, but Steve Bruce.
Yeah, so Steve Bruce was the manager.
You went through promotion though, didn't you? So you got
so first year we got promoted to the Premier League. So we had the Championship year. and I actually get goosebumps thinking about it. Incredible experience.
Yeah.
I
can imagine being just in.
It's the one that I shit you not. I'm getting goosebumps. Like, this is fucking mad. Like, it's the one part of me that I still to this day I miss that about football.
Yeah.
Like that game day, the training ground when you're winning, like the whole team together. Like, it's obviously also a shit place to be when things aren't going well, but that behind the scenes environment for me was like, again, I've got like, I still speak to players now, like that I worked with and all that sort of stuff. But again, I don't know what it is about me. Like I said to you before about like the uni and like seeing that I need to do this in the future. I'm going to have to give up my time for free. And I was there at 23 and I just thought to myself, I'm never going to progress in the sport.
I remember you saying things like you almost kind of, obviously you fantastic job. It's like, for me, like I love football, that would be a dream job. And I think loads of people would be able to relate to that. But was it, I'm sure I've heard you say in the past, like you just felt irrelevant as well though, because he had his little right-hand man.
Yeah.
Whatever you said, and it'd probably be different nowadays. I imagine sports scientists hold a bit more power now.
Yeah.
But back then, like, just don't care.
It's the problem with it was that it was almost like you got used when it was useful for them and then discarded when it wasn't. And it was like you were being asked to create reports to make it look like a player wasn't doing very well or wasn't running enough, or you made reports to make it look as if this was good or this was bad. And I was like, the data's the data. Like, what are you on about? Like, and you know, you go to manager and say, look, these players are at risk of injury, and he'd just like boo it, and then he'd come to you when they got injured and go, well, how come they got injured? And I'm like, I fucking told you. Like 2 weeks ago, and you didn't listen. And it's that whole thing of they pick you up and put you down whenever they want and please. And it's like, that's not really what I'm here for. And yeah, basically at 23, sorry, like I said, I was there and I saw this guy come in who was a 40-year-old guy, left his family, working in Man City's academy. He couldn't see a progression there. And he moved across to work at Hull City's first team, S&C coach, really knowledgeable, really nice guy, great guy. And he came over to work with Steve Bruce and applied for this job, got the job. And I saw within 3 months how he got treated. They didn't like him. They didn't like his methods, even though he's really good at what he did. And this guy was 40, left his kids behind in Manchester to kind of live in Hull half the week, to go back and forth, probably doing 40, 45 grand a year. And it was something in me that just went, that could be me.
Do I want that?
Do I want that when I'm 40? Do I want to do that? And you see how it's very cliquey and every manager takes their people with them. And it's just like, was I prepared to brown nose for 20 years to be 40 and maybe be on 80, 90, 100 grand a year?
But like I say, it's still very, even then, I think even if you're like highly regarded, etc., you're never really safe, are you? Because
it's so like performance based.
That's what I mean.
Because it was out of my control. That's what I hate about it. It's down to the players. It's down to the management. And like, I don't like being out of control. It's like, if it's my job, my security, again, from seeing other people lose their jobs because the manager didn't like them.
Yeah.
And like, this guy's really good at what he does, like expert in his field, was at Man City's academy, never couldn't get any higher because it was blocked basically, had to move sideways, to then have your whole career in tatters. And again, like I know the guy and I speak to him now and he's not doing anything in football. Like, and I just couldn't be arsed with it. And I just thought to myself, I just need to get out of this. I want to be in control of my own shit. And my dad had so going into the Premier League season, we were just on the pre-season. Again, Steve Bruce had done what he wanted to do. Again, his decision, not how I would have done a pre-season, not how I would have recommended done. Again,
I don't think he listens to this. So like.
He probably would, mate. But also, again, I'll tell you off air some funny stories, obviously, because we had Alex Bruce as well, who was a player who signed.
Yeah.
Fuck me, man. I'll tell you some funny stories. And I was just in football. And I just thought to myself, this is just It's all just who you know. It's big boys club. Again, seeing Alex Bruce get picked in a team of like unbelievable. Anyway, I just couldn't deal with it. And we went into the Premier League season and I saw this stuff happening with this 40-year-old guy who's being treated like shit, left his family, all this stuff. And I just thought, I don't want this. And my dad, just after, it was probably like September, October time, just after the pre-season, my dad had a kidney transplant. He'd been on a kidney transplant list for a long time. He lived down south. And it sounds going to sound bad now. But I almost used it as an excuse. I almost said like, so I remember on the day, it was as clear as day. I was in the office, 7:15 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, doing data for the training and all this sort of stuff. And I got a call from my dad's house, and I was like, something's wrong. You know when your dad rings your house in the morning, it's not normal. And it was my stepmom, and she was like, oh, they've just taken him in for the transplant. And I was like, fuck. I was like this. And Steve Bruce was in. And to be fair to Steve Bruce, like nicest guy, like nice guy. In my opinion, not the best football manager, but nice guy. And he just said, look, just go. He's like, just go home. Like, go and see him, go be with him, all this sort of stuff. And weirdly, at that time, that week, I'd actually arranged a interview to be a PT in London. And the same week. And I just remember,
third space?
Third space, yeah. And I just remember sitting there going, this is meant to happen. Like, I've been given this week off. My dad's had a kidney transplant. The same week, I've got this interview that they didn't know about that I was going to do in the day on a Wednesday. We had the Wednesday off. I was just like, this is just meant to be. And then went down, saw my dad, and my dad was, I think he was gutted when I left football.
Yeah.
My dad secretly was a bit gutted at 23. To know that at 16 I wanted to do it, to then 23, you could tell he was disappointed that I was giving up the career I'd worked so hard for, and he'd invested again time and money into me with uni and stuff. I just said to him, Dad, I just know this isn't right for me. And for him, I think he was always proud of the fact I worked in football.
Yeah.
Loved saying that he worked in football, loved saying this sort of stuff, even though I didn't enjoy it. I had no life, had no holiday, was paid not a lot actually per hour when you think about it. And then I just said I'm going to be PT in London. I think he was a bit deflated.
Yeah.
So that's how it started, like that journey of me like realising I wanted to work for myself. That was the thing for me. I was like, at 23, 24, I was like, I've got to do this for myself. And then sit here 10 years later and yeah, my dad's like, fucking hell.
It's paid off.
It's paid off.
Yeah.
Paid off.
You know, but it all comes from that. The reason I bring all that up is because it all comes from this. I was prepared to graft. I was prepared to work my nuts off, work for free, do all this, work for no money. And I very quickly realised that if I'm going to work this hard, it's for myself.
Yeah.
I ain't doing this for no one else.
Yeah.
And that's what drove me to be where I am now.
And you did that. How many years were you doing face-to-face PT?
Not long at all. 2 years.
Okay.
2 years
Yeah.
maybe.
That's where you met Tom as well, innit?
Met Tom, yeah. So again, like Tom came from football as well. He was more of the analysis side of stuff, and we joined at the same week. It was really random. So like me and him are close, like you two, like you do the podcast together, like really close. And joined at the same week, and you can tell he's competitive as well.
Yeah.
And we joined that first week, and both of us were sat there in the meeting, and we said to him, what's the record for the most number of sessions done in the first month by new PT? Like, we both sat there like, I'm gonna fucking do it.
That's the data analysis side of Tom.
Yeah,
innit?
and we did it, and we both did it. We both managed to kind of get 60. I think at the time they were like, if you could do 40, that'd be great. And we both got 60 in our first month. Just that competitive element. But
Yeah.
again, from being in football, realizing how to do it though, and realizing it's about who you are as a person. Not these people don't care about how much you know, the biomechanics, the sports science, the S&C. They don't care about that.
Yeah.
And we knew that from football because we got on with footballers.
Yeah.
And you could see that the people who went furthest in football were the people that got on with the players. And I was like, well, I've just got to apply the same principle here. Get on with the people. Get on with the people around the gym. Be nice. Be friendly. And it worked out. So, yeah, did that for 2 years. And then met my missus there. She worked in the same gym. And then, we very quickly were together. And then we had Isabel. And we were like, oh, don't really want to bring her up in London. Didn't really feel like that was the right thing to do. And I had 15 online clients at the time. Barely making enough money to kind of get by and just.
And what did just while we're on that, what did online coaching look like then?
So I actually started a bit of online coaching when I was at Hull City.
Okay.
So I actually started doing a bit of sports performance coaching and things like that.
Yeah.
It was called at the time. My first ever client online paid me £30 a month.
Yeah.
$29.95 a month, and I didn't even get all of that. I shit you not. So like when I see coaches now, like talking about how little they earn or their clients aren't willing to pay £100 a month, I sit there like, are you fucking kidding? Like, it winds me up because I'm like, I did it for 30 quid a month.
Yeah.
Same level of service, check-ins, all that sort of stuff, right? And it just wasn't a thing. And it's still really in its infancy. People think that it's advanced. It's not advanced. Like, it's still in its infancy
Yeah,
really
I agree.
now. And, you know, I remember when I worked at BTN at the time, I remember when Ben was like, oh, we're going to do a sports-specific package. We're going to charge $69.95 a month for it. And I was like, no one's going to pay that. I was like, no one's going to pay that. And then they did, and then he put it up to 99. I was like, this is ridiculous. No one's going to pay that amount of money.
People get paying it.
Over time, it gradually got more and more. So I had 15 clients, probably paying me like $150 a month. I think at that time, if I was lucky.
And was it still like with Google Sheets and stuff? Were you still doing it the same way? Yeah.
I mean, it was Excel then. It was Dropbox.
I was going to say, because for me, long story short, so I did face-to-face PT for ages, ended up falling out of love with it because of like the unsociable hours and things, and I was such a young age. Got an office job, went into an office job for a bit, hated that. But then I was kind of like online coaching people. I realised I was online coaching people. So people were paying me money. I was sending them like a Word document with a training plan, a nutrition plan, and then I'd message them to check in. But it wasn't called a check-in. It wasn't any. It was just like, this is online coaching. So I was just trying to know what it was like.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of the time. We used to do like one-off plans as well. We used to just make a plan for something, 15-page.
We used to do that.
That's how I got
started.
Yeah, one-off plans.
Send it to people, and then you realise not doing it, and no one's getting results. And yeah, it just developed, didn't it? It's weird how it did develop over time, but yeah.
So you then went to Team Box, didn't you? So
yeah, so that's why I moved to Bath. We were in Team Box with Steve, and I was there first before Mike was there, and then we just moved to Bath, and that's where Steve lived. And it was just like, it was make or break. It was literally, I remember it. I had 15 clients. I think I was doing about maybe $2,000 a month if I was lucky on a good month, maybe a little bit less than that. So after tax, what's that, about 1,700?
Yeah.
My rent was 1,200. the place I was at in Bath.
Yeah. So by the time you paid your phone bill and all
literally, but I remember saying to Laura, I was just like, if we don't do this now, I was like, we're going to get sucked into London life, sucked into the pay. Because you leave in London there on probably like me and her, I was doing probably 60k a year from the PT stuff, and she was doing a bit more than that, and you kind of go from there. And I just said to her, we've got to do it because it's the only way we're going to make it up the ladder, as it were, kind of going backwards a little bit. And it helped, obviously, we're both at home, so we could look after the kid and have to pay for childcare at that point. But we just knew that's what we wanted to do. And like every step we've taken has always been with the future in mind. It's always been, and this is the thing that frustrates me with coaches these days, is it's like they can't look at, they're just so bothered about connecting a client in today or tomorrow. They can't see the bigger picture. Like imagine if I had that mindset throughout all that journey, would have never got anywhere. And it's why we bang on about it so much, is that every step I've taken, whether it's online coaching or football or whatever, it's always been, what do I need to do now so that in 2 years I'm where I want to be?
Yeah.
All that working for free over the summers, living with my nan. Imagine saying to a coach now for 12 weeks, go live with your nan for 12 weeks, knowing that in 2 years it'll be worth it. They wouldn't fucking do it. No.
Yeah.
But there was something about that mindset that I was like, I just knew I had to do it.
Yeah.
Just knew I had to do it.
Weirdly, it's similar to when you guys offered me the option of working with Biceps. And if you remember at the time, I was kind of doing a bit of business stuff for you, but I think I had like, again, 15 clients, not paying me much. Some were like paying me 60 quid a month, some were paying 120, whatever. Like, it was all over the place. And then you guys said, do you want to, and I was like, and we just found out that Louise was pregnant with Thea. Yeah. And I was like, I had a really good job, I was doing really good money, but I was like, fuck it, just gotta go for it. And it was like that absolute sink or swim. And I was like, if it doesn't work, like, I'll go and get another job, but I just made it work.
The thing is that I always come back to that is I was really lucky in that my parents were always very clear, like, look, if it all goes to shit, just come here.
Yeah.
And I always felt like with supporting parents, you've always got that safety net.
Yeah, and I've got that.
No one wants to live with their parents. No one wants to go and live with their parents, right? But I was very much the same, and I've had a client recently who was and I about having a family and not want. They said to me, they're like, "Oh, we want to be in a secure enough place with the business before we start thinking about having a family." And I was like, "Or you have a family and then you've got the motivation to fucking make it work." And for me, it was always that thing of like, I didn't need to feel secure before I did it. I was like,
just go for it.
Make it work.
Yeah,
it is that fear thing, but I was like, if you can't make it work for your kid, well, you're fucked anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd never be worried about taking a risk now. I just think you've got to just take them. You've just got to go for it, and
because you'll always find something. You'll always find that element. And I think coaches are too bothered about being secure before they make a decision, without really realizing that the security is the thing that will stop them making a decision. Yeah, that you can't act from that place. And everyone I know who's ever gone on to do this sort of stuff, it is that sink or swim. It's like you of course you then put the hours in. So I get it, and I get that it's not always the best advice for everyone, but. And I guess you could argue the security for us is that we know we can always go and live with our parents if worst came to the worst, and you don't want that to happen. But
that can also be a hindrance as well. I think sometimes, because like you say, if you do always have that, because I've got a similar thing. Like if everything went to shit, I could be like, well, I can always just go back with my mum and dad and be fine. Which is also, it's a nice comfort to have, and you won't want it. But at the same time, I think with some people it'd be enough for them to be like, well, I don't need to do as much as I should be doing. Yeah, you could make you complacent with the wrong person.
It's tough because I just think you have to be the right type of person to make it work self-employed. Like you two are the same. It's like you're just driven. Like you don't think about, oh, how much money I'm making this week or next month. It's right in 5 years. That's the goal. Okay, then everything you do is working towards that goal. Yeah. And honestly, that mindset has also kind of like hindered me being able to enjoy day-to-day life potentially, like compared to some people who are just happy, carefree, spend all their money or whatever. But I think it's vital to be able to get to that point first where you go, right, I'll think for the future, I'll plan. And then from there, it's easier to go, right, I know this is working. I know it's paying off. You know that the momentum's not going to slow down then.
You can enjoy it a bit more.
You can enjoy it because you know that, okay, I just have to do these things, do these tasks each day, and then I can enjoy the rest of my day. I can enjoy it because I know that it works. And we've got the proof that it works. Yeah. So it's easier to do. Whereas those first 3 to 4 years of doing it, it's not as easy. Yeah. It's not as easy to do that and grind it out. Like it's no surprise to me that you two now are in a position where you're reaping the benefits. But it's like 4 years ago, you were doing probably more work then than you are now, arguably. Just not a direct result from it. Yeah, that's what they can't work out. And the work you're doing now today is going to benefit you in 4 years' time. Yeah, but they don't see that. They don't see this. They don't see the disconnect between the work you do now and what you're getting now. They're on 2 different train tracks. Yeah. They're not the same thing. But people just think it's directly correlated. Well, if I put a post out today asking for clients, I'll get clients. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. It does not work like that.
Yeah. It's like you and Mike have chatted about on your podcast before. Like everything you do, it's just stacking the chips in your favour, and nothing's a guaranteed. But if you just keep doing that and increase the chances of it happening and just keep showing up, it's going to happen at some point.
Exactly that. So it's like if me and Mike didn't post on Instagram or YouTube or email for the next 2 weeks and then put an email out saying we're taking our spaces for clients, we still get clients for the door. We took because that 2 weeks, it doesn't mean that
Anything.
people right now are forgetting about
It's
us.
the 8 years worth of work you've
It's
done.
because of the 5 years of building a brand.
Yeah.
But they don't see that. People don't see that. They're very reactionary to things. And I'm like, the reason it doesn't work for you is because you haven't built up that equity. You haven't built up that stuff. Yeah, and that's the most frustrating thing is that people are, and again, this is why I hope they listen to this podcast and realize that everything we have today is a byproduct of, I would argue, everything we have today is a byproduct of my mindset when I was 18.
Yeah.
It's not anything. Yeah, there's some bits we do today that are helpful, but it's all that byproduct of all that effort and time that you have as equity.
Yeah.
That you go, right, I can withdraw that now. I can pull on that.
Yeah.
But they don't see it.
We all have shit days, like where you lose a couple of clients, stuff goes wrong, you start panicking like, oh, it's all going to go to shit. And obviously you get when those days come, you are like, I don't really want to have to post. I'm not in the mindset to post. I'm not in the mindset to reply to clients again. But the same thing, I always say to myself, well, if I don't do those things, it's definitely going to go to shit. So like, what option have you got?
Yep.
You do what you
exactly that. And you guys are better at that than most, right? With that. But it's remembering as well. Like I have to say to coaches all the time, it's like, and it happens to us. People don't think it doesn't happen to us. Like I had last month, I think I had 10 people drop off. And it's easy to sit there and panic and go, oh shit. But then I look back over the evidence and I go, okay, if that's 5 years, when I've had people drop off 1 month to the next, what's happened the month after? Well, I've had more people sign up. Okay, so do I think this time is probably going to be like that, or is it going to be, this is the downfall of my business? Well, it's likely, based on the evidence, that it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Right, what did I do last time then? Well, I just carried on doing what I was doing. Right, carry on doing what you're doing then.
Yeah.
And they can't zoom out and look at the bigger picture and go, well, you're going to lose clients. As a business, you can't, if you kept every single client you ever had, well, then you'd be absolutely fucking sound and there'd be no reason for us to ever be in business, right? You just keep going and going and you retire. But you lose clients. Everyone loses clients. Everyone does. Mm-hmm. And it just baffles me that there's this reaction to it of like such an emotional state. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's...
If you're running your business properly, it should just be a logic. There might be a little bit of emotion initially, but then you go, hang on. It's like fat loss clients stepping on the scales. Like, they stress out initially. Then they go, actually, if you think about it logically, I had dinner at fucking 10 o'clock last night. So of course I'm going to be heavier. You know, it's just like you're just trying to zoom out and see the bigger picture.
But even that, like, how many times have you stepped on a scale and gained 2 kilos and there's no explanation?
Yeah. Well,
so then you go, well, okay, but there's no explanation. So you go, okay, well, I'm not going to panic about it. I'll see what happens for the rest of the week. Oh, it's gone down again the rest of the week. Okay, cool. Who knows what that was?
Yeah.
Same with this. Client leaves. Okay, for whatever reason they've left. Who knows? Great. Crack on. Do it. Carry on anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just this whole attitude to it that like, it's somehow like that you need to change something. I just find it weird. Like, keep going.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously you might got together and started Biceps, and then on physique coaching for what was it, like 7 years, 8 years before you guys started transitioning towards the business stuff, something like that.
No, less than that. We've been together 5 years now.
All right.
And we've been doing the business stuff for 2 of those.
Okay. So what was my point being? Like, what sparked the change towards the business stuff from the physique side of stuff?
The demand was there.
Yeah.
So we were doing the physique stuff, and we were helping a lot of coaching at the time. I guess because we were, I'd like to think, quite well thought of in the industry.
Yeah.
Got good results, got people in photoshoot shape, all those sorts of things. We used to have a lot of coaches come to us and go, "Oh, I want to work with you and like see how you do things," whether they wanted to look at the system or whatever.
Just put in there, so like that's exactly how I found Dan, which was one of the things we were going to talk about. But so I was with someone else, like a business mentor. It's the only one that I knew of, which is why I went.
Shittest one out there.
Yeah, got some really bad advice. I knew that was a decent coach. I just needed to get the right kind of any guidance, but I didn't. So I was like, well, I was then scared of business mentors because I was like, that scared the shit out of me. I don't want another one because they're all going to be the same. But then I found you and Mike, and I can't remember how I found you, but I found you guys, and I was following you both, and I was like, these guys go get great results. So my thinking, and I think more coaches would benefit from this thinking, was, well, they run a really good business, they've got good morals, and they're getting results. So I was like, well, I will just get coached by Dan, see what he does. That was legit. Yeah, and like, I kid you not, that was my thinking. Obviously, as a byproduct, I got in shape, which was great.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, and I think that's probably what a lot of people's thoughts were.
Yeah.
Let's see how they do it. And then when they sign up with us, they were like, oh, hang on, you use Google Sheets. You don't use an app. Oh, hang on a minute. You just do video checking. You don't have any fancy stuff. It's like, no, we just do it like this. Anyway, so we got people in shape and we were having lots of chats with lots of coaches and more of them were asking like, oh, just out of interest, why don't you use an app? Well, because this. Oh, I'm working with a mentor and they've told me I need to charge up front. And we were like, well, why would you do that? That's fucking stupid.
Yeah. I used to ask you. I remember you used to just like answer the questions, obviously.
And basically, we probably coached about 15 to 20 coaches each. And we just sat there one day and we were like, why do people keep asking us all these questions? It was like, what's going on out there? So then we were diving deep into it. So what are you being told to do? Oh, I'm being told to do this on Instagram. And like we all kept seeing that, oh, I'm looking for 5 people kind of posts on Instagram. We'd never done that. And we were just like, it's a bit weird. Anyway, and then we, by chance, we then obviously moved to Dubai, which was really good for us. allowed us to obviously save a lot of money in tax. I'm not going to sit here and lie about it, obviously. It allows you to reinvest it into the business and grow a little bit quicker. And we were like, well, we can pick this laptop and move anywhere. Why the fuck are we still here in fucking UK where it rains all the time?
Although it's raining in Dubai right now.
It is raining in Dubai right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it just came back from demand. We had these people asking us these questions, and we just said, why don't we just offer it to them?
Yeah.
So we were at the point niching down into coaching coaches anyway, in terms of getting them in shape and all that sort of stuff. And we did that, honestly, we did that for about a month. And we were like, nah, we need to just do this and help with the business. Because not only, you can obviously charge more as well. But we were actually doing it anyway.
Yeah.
We were doing it anyway. And it got to the point where we were like, right, let's just package this up. Let's just do check-ins. Let's just do coaching as we would normally do coaching. And exactly the same as like we were asking them what they were doing in mentoring. And they were like, oh, you just get put in a group, get all these videos. And we were just sat there like, fucking hell, like.
Yeah.
This advice has been given as shit.
Yeah. I remember really clearly, like, one day I messaged you because said mentor told me that I need to be charging up front, and I kept pushing back and thinking about it, so fucking stupid. I was paying him monthly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, I was like, and the message you one day, I was just like, so and so was telling me that I need to charge up front. What's your thoughts? And I remember you sent me a really detailed message. It was like, well, the way I see it is if you have X amount of clients paying this, and in X amount of time, you're going to be here. And I was like, that's what I want. Do you know? And I was just like, and like you say, my check-ins were probably more around business than what they were kind of physique at that stage. So it was like a natural transition for you guys into that.
Yeah, it was just the demand was there. Like we just listened to people and we're like, right, let's just launch this. And we launched it, and the interest was quite good. And it's just built up over time. Like we just built up the results. And again, like we keep coming back to it. It's 2 years now we've been doing it, and we kind of like look at our pages and we're like, no one else is producing the results we are.
Yeah.
And I'm not egotistical anyway. You know this. I'm very self-deprecating. I don't think anything, but we are the best at it. Like in my humble opinion, like when you look at the people that we can help, there's no one else churning out results. I said this to Mike the other day. I said, you follow some other business mentors that we kind of know, and they're on like their stories, you know, shouting about their client has managed to book in 3 calls this week, and I'm like, is that something to shout about? Like, that just happens normally for our clients. Like it's, and we just realized that it became the business mentoring space was just a space where people were shouting the loudest about how much money they were making and how much money they'd made, and we were like, well, that's not really the only metric to look at, is it? So we just went down that route, and it's just taken off. It's just gone from strength to strength. We're now full, and
that's why, like, sometimes the fitness industry probably gets a bad rep because it's just a lot of the time it's people just see the money. Yeah, and it's like actually, all I wanted to do, I fucking kid you not, I was like, I knew that it would work for me if I was a good coach and I was getting good results. So like, that's all I focused on. That's all I focused on for a long time, was just getting good results with people, and I just knew that as a byproduct of that, my business would grow.
Yeah. Oh, it's the same in any industry, right? It's the same it seems to me that like the fitness industry is the only one that people seem to have this view of it and go, oh yeah, don't worry about the results, just focus on your social media content. It's like, really? Is that really what you think? Like, it's not going to work in anything. It's like on a coffee shop and being like, the coffee shit, but we've got a good social media page. Oh no, the coffee shit, no one's coming back.
Yeah.
No one's coming back.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just
natural transition.
It makes me laugh. Like, yeah, it's just a natural transition, and people are asking us how we do things. Again, same with socials. Oh, how do you manage to do this, do that? I'm just like, I just said what I wanted to fucking say, and I recorded it. I made it look half decent and
put it online.
Pissed around with Mike and put it online. Like, it sounds so simple when you say it out loud, but again, it was always this thing of we had a 2-3 year plan with it. It wasn't, let's do this now and hope we get 10 clients out tomorrow. It was never like that.
Yeah.
Same with the business stuff. It's never like that. It was like, if we keep producing results, we keep getting people into a good position with it, we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what differentiated like the business side of coaching you guys do from all different mentors that I certainly came across up to, was that it was coaching led. So it was be a good coach first and build the business off the back end of it. Whereas everything else was just scale whatever you've got as it is, limit your contact time with people, limit the check-ins that you give, limit the feedback, limit the delivery.
That's it.
And charge as much as you can.
Literally. And it's so easy to stand out these days because you just have to say the opposite to that. And, you know, we're going to be the rest of this year going on a big drive of our clients who we've posted already on our page, you've got good results, and we're going to post them again and go, this is where they're at now. They've progressed even further, because no one's doing that either. You look in the mentor space, they're all just posting their one client that's done really well, but we don't hear from ever again. You don't see that thing ever again. And that's the thing with it all. Like we said, when it comes to coaching, the amount of times we post someone and go, second photo shoot for Jake, second photo shoot here, looking better, leaner, bigger. And people start, hang on a minute, it's been that long. Yeah, it must be a good coach, you know. And it's that people aren't daft; they see it eventually. And you don't need that many clients to make a successful business. You really don't. But with the way that the mentors talk and the way numbers that are thrown around, it's like people are needing 10 calls a month booked in because they can't retain a client.
Yeah.
We never had that. We never had like, I get some clients like, oh, I need to get more leads in. I'm like, why? Well, I've got 8 dropping off this month. 8 dropping off. How do you know they're dropping off already? Like, oh, they're coming to the end of their time. It's like, our clients won't come to the end of their time. There's always the next goal, always the next thing. And if you coach them properly, not everyone, obviously, but we never needed 15 calls a month, 10, 15 calls a month.
Yeah.
I was like, I've got clients and I'm like booking them in 10 calls a month. They're saying, oh, they're great. And they're on the same client numbers at the end of the month as they were at the start. You've just got 10 calls booked in and you're on the same numbers.
I honestly, like,
Baffles me.
I know we speak about it, but like, I probably have fucking 3 or 4 a month.
Literally.
And if I had 10 and they were all signed up, I'd be too. I couldn't handle it.
So like, I get coaches go, I'm getting 2 calls booked in a week, but I need more. And I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You need to fix your coaching, mate, because that is more than enough. Believe me, I've built a business to 100, 110 clients, fat loss, getting 2 calls a week.
And it'd be such a stressful business to run as well, because you've just got that all that
Constantly
churn.
down.
Because, and again, they're never getting results for them.
Yeah.
They're never getting results for them, so they've got nothing to show for it and social proof. So it's like you're getting a client stay for 3 months, you get no results for them. You might get a bit of cash, but you have to then find another one. And it's always this short-term thinking. And, you know, the short-term thinking leads to short-term clients. That's a soundbite that Harry nicked off one of our videos. and I believe it is that short-term thinking like that with content, trying to get clients through the door leads to short-term clients. They don't stay long.
Yeah.
And you're just pissing on a bonfire.
Yeah.
Not doing anything. Not going to help.
So I suppose that leads us nicely into the final bit, which is just your top 3 tips, which you've probably covered. But like, if there's a coach coming to you now, let's say online, because obviously, you know, we're online, just starting out, what would be your 3 bits of advice?
Wow. First one is, make sure you're a really good fucking coach. And I get that that's quite nondescript, and I get that that's not really useful, but coaching is more about psychology and building a relationship than it is about your macros and your 100%. Calories. It's understanding the human that has a family, has work life, and video updates. If you're not doing video updates as a coach, fucking start doing them and start getting to know your client. Like, you might be like, I'm not a therapist, I'm not there for that. You fucking are. Because everyone's problem with food and training is around in here. It's nothing. People know that if they eat more salads, they lose weight. They know, but why aren't they? Well, because they get comfort from food, they get comfort from eating these things, because it's social, because their family are involved in it, whatever. You've got to work with that alongside getting them their goals. So for me, the psychological element, and that's why I think for me, having always been a coach, I coached like kids when I was 16, 17, understanding that there's a way to get through to different people and being able to read people, I think is key, and understand the human behind the fucking check-in, because that's what coaches get. I've got 20 check-ins there. You've got 20 people to speak to. You've got 20 check-ins, 20 people to speak to.
It's so true that, I mean, even this week, like, City played, got knocked out. But, you know, we played the other night, and literally all my check-ins the next day, every single one's like, I can't believe you got beat, mate. How was it? You know, 5 minutes we just spent talking about the football. Oh, by the way, my nutrition's gone okay this week, blah, blah, blah.
Yep. They're going to open up to you more. They're going to respect you more.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things, right? So that's number 1. Number 2 is with social media. When I say be yourself, again, really nondescript, but a task that I get coaches to do, which they don't like doing, but it opens up a lot of doors, is that I say to them is like, ask your missus or your partner, whatever it is, your fella, and say, why do you like me? Which sounds ridiculous saying it out loud. But what I get from coaches is that I say to them, if you showed your page to your missus or fella, I keep saying that like there's not girls watching, I assume there's girls watching, or you're gay, either whatever, your partner, they should look at your page and go, that's you. Like, I get it, that's you. Like, my missus, I catch her watching our stuff and laughing, and it's like, yes, like, can that feel good? But like, why would your partner not look at your Instagram page and go, yeah, that's you, that's funny, I like that, that's what you're about? Because I speak to coaches all the time, and they go, oh, my missus don't even look at it. Like, I wouldn't want her to look at it. Why not? Why would you not want to do that? And I'm sure yours too would be the same. They would look at your videos and go, that's you, that's how you speak, that's how you are with me, that's how you are, right? That's one thing I say to them, and they don't like that task because it's eye-opening.
Yeah.
Because I say to them, they go, oh, I'm just boring. Oh, I've got nothing to say online. I'm like, well, I bet your partner disagrees with me, with you. I bet they do think you're interesting. What is it about it's interesting? What they like about you? So even if it's that you're caring, you're sensitive, be that on Instagram. Show that more on Instagram. If it is that you're like me, grumpy, sarcastic, be that online. Because my missus then watch my stuff and goes, that's you. That's like, she knows that's me. And the way I make jokes, the way I say things, she's like, that's how you say it when you're with me. That's what I moan about at home and what I come to her with when I'm pissed off, whatever. Is like, your missus should, I keep saying that, your partner. No, I'm such a bloke. I'm so hard. I'm like, but they should be able to look at that stuff and go, you're being yourself. That's the test of, are you being yourself, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's 2, right?
That's 2.
Fuck me, what's the 3rd one? Be relentless. Like you just said there, like, I don't care whether you're having a good day, a bad day, an indifferent day. Fucking turn up. Turn up. Because if you had a 9 to 5 job, you couldn't be like, oh, don't feel it today. You got to go in. anyway. You've got to tap away on that spreadsheet. You've got to send that email. You've got to come in and do that. You've got to turn on the camera. You've got to sit there and listen to this shitty podcast, right? That's what day you're having. And like, last thing you want to do is sit and listen to this. But like, if a podcast, studio doesn't open because you've got it booked in, you ain't going to come back. They ain't going to have any business. I'm like, that's your business. Like, coaches are so quick to, because they work for themselves, they let themselves down. If you work for yourself, you should want to be there more. I'm like, so you're telling me if you had a 9 to 5 for working for someone else to make money off your hours, you would turn up more often than if it was for you and your business.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
Crazy, innit?
Fucking mad. And like, we all have days. I have days where I don't want to turn up. I have days where I don't want to do stuff. Of course we do. But like, the amount of coaches that aren't prepared to work past 6 p.m. or on a Saturday or a Sunday blows my mind.
Yeah.
Again, from someone who's worked 12 weeks for free, living with his nan when he was 18, I think I'm in a position to kind of say, like, sort your shit out. Because that's what puts you in a position that we're in now.
Yeah.
Everyone I've spoke to who's ever had a 7-figure business, you don't ever sit them down on a podcast and they go, yeah, I just worked 30 hours a week and just took all loads of time off and like did what I want. And like, actually, it was really chilled and really easy.
Yeah.
Not one of them.
You have to kind of earn it, don't you, to a certain extent? It's like when I first started, I was just working all the hours under the sun. Now I'm in a position where I'm getting a tiny bit of freedom back. And
like, to the point where, again, last night, I didn't have to do this, but last night, a client texted me, struggling to find this video in the group. I need it for this weekend because I'm doing this thing. 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I could have ignored him. It pissed me off. He shouldn't have texted me. He should have fucking used his brain. But I tagged him in the video.
Yeah.
10 o'clock at night. I shouldn't be doing that now anyway, right? There's something in me that's like, well, I know if I do it, it'll pay off in the future. It'll do it.
Yeah.
It don't take much time out of my day, and I probably should set better boundaries, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff, right? And I do in general. But it's those little things that you just don't stop doing them.
Yeah.
Don't do it for a year and go, oh, I worked really hard on this for a year. Where's my business? I paid my dues. It's a lifelong thing.
It's got to be non-stop, hasn't it? I mean, how long? I mean, I've been doing online now for 4 or 5 years, maybe. I was a P team for a bit before that. You're similar?
Similar,
Something like
similar,
that.
3,
and like
4,
even now for both of us, it's only just in the last, 6 to 12 months started to really sort of
take
take off.
Fucking stop as well. You two better.
Otherwise, we're in trouble now.
You're in fucking big trouble, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I want to start doing less work so you can do more. No, but like as well, like, and just to finish on this as well, is I'd like to think that it inspires you two. It's like, I wouldn't feel right if you two were sat there working on stuff and we're sat there fucking doing nothing.
No, 100%.
There's an element to it where it's like, you have to practice what you preach.
Yeah. It does massively, but even like just between us, if I'm sat there doing check-ins or something in the day and I've not posted anything that day, just in that point, and I see him post, I'm like, fucking hell, Jake's done
Same as us.
Yeah.
Same as what we
do.
I do exactly the same
We
thing.
do that. I'm like, fuck, he's posted twice today, and I'm going to get another post.
Exactly.
Like, he's put some social proof up. Fuck, I'm putting some social proof up.
Same, right?
Like,
It's exactly
all the
that.
time.
It is the same as that. We're the exact same. If I see Mike post, I'm like, fuck, I've not posted today.
Yeah.
Or if like he invites me to collaborate, I'm like, shit, I should have got there first, because it makes you feel like I'm a little bit ahead.
If in the members group for other coaches, if you reply to a message before me, I'm like, fuck, Jake's replied before me.
But that's good, right? You should want that. You should. That's why you should. Again, it's your business. You should do that. And the way we've created it for you guys is that it's not like you work for us. It's not like, fucking is your way. It's like you can grow within it, and the more you work, the more you get back. And it baffles me that coaches are sat there with the ability with their business to do what they want when they want and earn as much as possible. They don't work as hard. It baffles me.
Yeah.
I can't get into that mindset, but
Well, I did last night. I had one of the Members Plus coaches message saying that they'd not posted yesterday or a few days before, or they weren't going to post because they'd had a couple of stressful days, and they were like, my head's just not in it. I can't write a caption or anything. And I was just like, well, if that was one of your fat loss clients who'd messaged and saying, I've not stuck to the plan for the last couple of days because my head's not in it, you'd be turning around saying, but those are the most important days. Those are the days that make the difference. That's when it counts. Because anyone can stick to the plan when you feel good. It's when you don't feel good. Yeah. And to be fair to him, he did go and then post and he put something up, which was decent. But you've got to show up, haven't you?
Well, that's why you need the Members Plus as well, isn't it?
get involved, yeah. That's it,
yeah.
Right, well, thank you very much for coming on,
Yeah,
Daniel.
thanks for coming on, man.
It wasn't too boring.
Yeah.
Hope you weren't driving listening to that because you'd have fucking veered off the road. Fucking boring.
Yeah, so we've got Mike next, haven't we?
Yeah, that's one half of the supposed beer pong champions, although...
they did beat us. You did, so we can't take the piss because you did still beat us.
Didn't meet many others, though, did you?
No, unfortunately not. We've got to get some practicing.
Right.
Yeah, like, subscribe,
Tweet,
all that shit.
Yeah.
Go follow these two. Don't follow me. Follow these two.
Yeah. That's it, yeah. At Dan Biceps. Business Banter now, innit?
Dan Business Banter, yeah.
At Dan Business Banter.
Yeah.
If you are coaching, they'll know who you are if they'll listen to this.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Right, cheers, guys.
Catch you in the next
Bye-bye.
one.